Giganotosaurus is an enormous predator that can take a tremendous amount of punishment. Its deadly bite inflicts high damage and cripples its victims, which makes taming one an extremely dangerous prospect. That's why I designed a Giga trap for ARK Survival Ascended that's cheap to build and easy to use. Alright Tinkers, I'm Toastbloke and I'm going to show you how to build, use and optimize my Giga trap design. Now this trap is part of a series about my universal trap system for land creatures, a scalable design that could be used to build traps for creatures like Thylacoleo, Rex and Spinosaurus, and by crafting just 15 structures it's possible to build every trap in the system. If that is something that interests you, make sure you check out the rest of the videos in this series once you're done with this one, and if you find this trap or any of my others helpful, please do remember to like and subscribe. It's a huge help, but let's jump in and show you how to build my Giga trap. I have two examples here just so you can see what you are aiming to build, and to build a trap there are 8 structures you're going to have to craft. 2 foundations, 1 wall and 5 pillars. I've crafted mine out of metal as that is the lowest tier structure you can safely use with a Giga because it will munch through anything lower than that, but as you can see tech is also a good option if you can afford it. Once you have your structures, you need to head out and start looking for the place you would like to build your trap. You want to find a spot that is nice and flat and ideally out in the open, and you want to be looking towards the direction you would like the Giga to approach the trap from. I know there's one on the top of this mountain here, so I'm going to try and get it to come down the pathway in front of us and up into this spot. So I'm going to build my trap here. Now the first step is to take out a foundation. You want to move this into the position you want. Click once to lock it in place. Look up to raise it to its maximum height and then click again to place it. After that, you're going to snap another one directly beside it, making sure the second foundation is equally, if not more, high off the ground than the first one. At this point, it's important to note that the front of the trap is the edge of the foundations furthest away from your character, so that is this edge here. You're then going to take out a wall. You want to change this into a secret doorway and snap this to one side of the foundations. After you've done that, you're going to take out your pillar, change it into a thin pillar and snap it to the front outside corner of the foundation on the opposite side. After that, you're going to stick another one right on top straight away. At this point, I like to step down in front of the trap because it makes life a little bit easier. But with the thin pillar still selected, you're going to change it into a beam. And we want to snap this to the top of the other thin pillars so that it points over the front of the trap away from the foundations like so. When you've got that, you're going to make a right angle back over the trap by snapping another beam to the one you just placed. And then finally, working back towards the secret door, you want to snap the final beam so that both of these are parallel with the foundations below. And that is your Giga trap built. Before we move on though, I want to share with you 3 ways you can prevent any problems that might pop up with pathfinding. The first being, clear the area around the trap of any rocks and foliage. In fact, when taming a Giga, clear the area leading up to the trap too, as it has a huge turning circle that can lead it to falling off cliffs or getting trapped places when trying to avoid obstacles. Second up, you want to check that the land leading up to the entrance of your trap is flat. It's a good idea to have a decent sized runway approaching your trap, especially when building at the bottom of a slope, because if the ground in front of the trap is too high, the Giga will not be able to enter it. Finally, you want to make sure that your foundations are placed correctly. Best practice is to have them parallel to the ground, fully raised, and if you're building on a slope, facing downhill. But there you have it, 3 ways to beat pathfinding if you're having issues getting the Giga into the trap. Right then, let's show you how to use the trap to tame your very own Giga. First up, let's make sure we are prepared. I have a few things in my inventory here. First up, we need to feed this its preferred food, and that is exceptional kibble. If you don't have that, Raw mutton and raw prime meat are also decent options. Second up, we need to knock this thing out. It is a knockout tame, so I'm bringing a long neck and shocking tranquilizer darts, but you can choose to use what you want. If you are using shock darts, you're only ever going to need 250 max, but if you're using trank darts, they are half as potent as a shock dart, so you're going to need 500 of those for a max level tame on official rates. Gigas are also notorious for trying to wake up like it's Christmas morning, so I've got 600 narcotics here. You shouldn't ever need more than that. And then finally, if you are level 96, you can unlock the Giga saddle and craft that up before you head out. Something else you might notice is I'm actually sat on an Argentavis because I don't recommend leading the Giga into the trap on foot. There might be the odd situation where you can be stood behind the trap and get a shot on it to make it run through, but I think you're going to want to be on a tame. I'd recommend a flyer, and that's why I have my trusty RG here. All we've got to do now is get the Giga to walk under the beams and step up onto the foundations so that it gets trapped between them. There should be a Giga just over the brow of this hill. Hopefully it's still there. Oh, I can see its tail. It's in the trees over here. So what we need to do is aggro this. We're going to give it a little nibble and hopefully get it to lock onto us and chase us down the mountain. Now, my aim here is to stay high above its bite so that it can't get us, but it will start reaching up. And if it ends up catching up with us too easily, it might start trying to turn, which would be awful for us because this thing's turning circle is a joke. But let's try and lead it down this pathway that I've made by getting rid of rocks and trees. Looks like it's on us. It honestly is worth taking the time to do it if you've got to lead your Giga a good distance. It just makes things so much easier. We're going to kite this all the way down the mountain. It's trying to get us. I was going to say it can't. It did. It's jumping. What the hell? Giga should still be with us. Yep. Oh, it's got us again, man. Behave yourself. And we're just going to fly straight over the trap. And hopefully the Giga will slot right in. Has it gone up the hill? I mean, it's still gone in. But my goodness, why are you veering off up the hill there? Absolute joke. Anyway, with our Giga in the trap, we can stay back at a safe distance and we can start tranking this out. Just going to pop these into it. You can see there it's turning around, but it's well and truly trapped. It will not get out. Might stand here where there isn't as much long grass because I'm struggling to see what I'm doing. But this could take a little while. Oh, it looked like it was starting to run, and there we go. We've knocked the Giga down. We are going to jump into its inventory, and we are going to put in its preferred food. I'm also going to line up the narcotics, because if you look at its torpidity, look at how fast this is going down, man. It's rapid. It's ridiculous. Look at that. It's almost a quarter through. So we are going to look after this. We are going to be spamming the narcotics in there to make sure it stays asleep and to keep its torpidity rising while it tames up. Let's put 300 in for now. That'll be spot on. And I'm going to protect this with my life. It so could have just completed on the last feed. Come on, man. It's a smidgen of a percent. Oh, there we go. It's finally up. We have tamed our Giganotosaurus. And there it is in all of its glory. Let's stop it following us and put it on passive. And there we go. That is how you build and use the trap to get yourself a Giga. Now, once you have tamed up your Giga, you can do this if you want. I like to get the saddle straight on because then I can ride it and use it. But also, to get it out of the trap, all you have to do is open the secret doorway and the Giga can pop out of the side. You can either ride it out or whistle it out. I think today we'll ride this one out to reset the trap. It's super obvious, let's be real. You're just going to close the secret doorway and you can now use this to tame another Giga. Let's show you how you can optimize the trap then to get the most out of it. First up, I'd recommend building in a large open space. Gigas are massive and they have a high area of effect. So you'll want to be able to stand back from the trap once it's inside. And this will often mean you'll need to harvest everything in the surrounding area. Next up, let's show you a few tricks for if you're building on some janky terrain. I've popped over to a location in the snow that is also a good place to trap gigas. Now, there is plenty of space on this mountain that is flat, but if you were in the situation where you were building on an upward slope, there are a couple of tricks you can try to get the trap to work. First off, you can do something I call the foundation pop, where I place one foundation as low as possible and then snap the other one to the snap point above. Now, this here still wouldn't work on a bank this steep, because we haven't got a full quarter wall height of the foundation. If that is the case, there is another way that you can build the trap that uses a couple of additional pieces that aren't in my universal trap system. Well, one is, and that is the quarter wall, which you can snap to the back of the trap. Then you can take out two ceilings and snap them along parallel to the foundations in front of them. And then this platform will act as the base of the trap. So all you've got to do then is build up with your thin pillars, come out with your beam, and then right angle it across the front of the trap. And of course, it's not going to work without your secret door. The last thing you might want to try to optimize the trap is to make it wider. These traps in my system will work no matter how wide you make them. So I'm going to make this one 6 foundations wide instead of the 2. I obviously need to move these structures to the outside edge of the foundation. So we're going to do that. And then we are going to beam all the way across the front, staying parallel with the foundations below. I think we need one more. And then I'm going to move this secret door out onto the edge of the trap like so. And everything will operate and work exactly the same. In fact, if for some reason you have more than one Giga chasing you, you can lead them both into the trap and they will both get stuck. But there you have it. That is my Giga trap design for Ark Survival Ascended that's part of my universal trap system. If you want to check out other traps in this series, there'll be a playlist linked at the end of the video. And if you do try this trap, let me know how it goes. I love to hear about your experiences with them. Also, if you do try this trap or any of my others and they end up treating you well, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It's a massive help and I'm super grateful for it, so cheers. But until next time, you guys take care and I will catch you later. Cheerio.